Well, good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and I'm your host, and we're coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at BNN TV, and you're more than welcome to join us if you'd like. We're at 617-708-3290. Dave and the great staff of BNN are in the other room answering the phones. If you'd like to join us, please give us a call. Let us know what's going on artfully in your life and in your community. Of course, the lovely Valerie Eliason is out of the country. Well, not quite out of the country. She's down in the Bahamas enjoying the sun and fun, and we miss her. I hope that she's tuning in. You know, you can't tune in if you're not in the Boston area. All you have to do is go to www.bnntv.org, and that gets you right to the front page of that website. You click on what's playing right now, and it'll get you right to this program today. We're kind of here today. We've got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about kids art. We've got the people from the Hawthorne Community Center here to talk about kids art, and I think it's pretty appropriate that we be doing that. But I would be amiss if I didn't take just a few minutes to talk about the passing of a great Bostonian, and I'm proud to say a good friend of mine, Tom Menino, who passed away this past weekend, and it was a sad moment for myself, and I'm sure for a lot of people when we heard that Tom had passed away. It's strange. I've been talking to people. We had Rosendale Open Studios this weekend, and everybody that came in knew of Janice's and my relationship with the former mayor, and everybody wanted to ask questions, and everybody had a little story, and people shared things. But one of the things was literally, where were you when? And I happened to be standing in front of my 4th grade class, and I have one of those big, huge smart boards projected up on the screen, and there's a little ticker going across the bottom of different news and what have you, and along comes this announcement of Mayor Menino's passing, and I reached over and shut it off really quickly because I didn't want to, impact any of the kids. But one of the kids said right after I did that, "What did that just say across the bottom?" So we went from doing two-point perspective to talking about great Americans. We went on to talk about how people impact their community, some of the things that people do, not because they have to, but because they want to. And it ended up being a pretty decent conversation about some of the things that Mayor Menino had done. I can't call him former mayor. I'm continually going to call him Mayor Menino. No offense to Marty Walsh, who's doing an incredible job in incredible, huge shoes to fill. He is doing a great thing, but I think at least for now, we're going to continue to call Tom Menino, Mayor Tom Menino. My oldest remembrances of Tom Menino was when he was city councilor out in Rosendale in Hyde Park. Now, I'm from Rosendale, as most of you know, and I grew up there, and Rosendale Square was always this vibrant, great business district back in the 60s and 70s, and a couple of things happened socially, and busing came along, people left the community, there was some very serious violence that went on, there were fires down there, and people decided they didn't want to live in Rosendale anymore. Well, City Councilor Tom Menino decided that, we're going to do something about this, and he brought a program which you've heard me talk about ad nauseum, but there's no one in the world or in the city of Boston who's more responsible for this program than Mayor Menino. And he brought Main Streets to Rosendale Square and set up this template of how to bring back a business district, how to revitalize a neighborhood, how to make people proud of where they live, how to make people appreciate the things that they have, and to work hard for the things that they want. He kind of came in and said, as a city councilor, the only thing I can do is give you this template and kind of give you some direction and some advice as far as how to go and which directions to go. And we followed everything that he said to the letter. This was back in 1985. And And slowly but surely, this program that he had brought to an urban setting, I guess it was in a more industrial setting before, where the formula, which you've heard me talk about, was, you know, finding out what the community in that particular area needed, finding out the different kinds of products or things that people needed, bringing it to that community, and making sure that people didn't have to get on a bus and go 8 miles up Washington Street to the Dedham Mall, or didn't have to get on the train and go downtown just to pick up something that's a staple and a necessity for their life. Let's bring that to their neighborhood, to where they can walk down the street and share some of the things that they need with their fellow community people. And as you know, slowly but surely, it turned into Rosendale Square, which is this amazing business district, but it's much bigger than that. People come from outside of the community just to come in and feel that vibrance that Rosendale has. They come from outside of the community to come in and share some of the excitement that we have when we have our farmers markets, or when we put on events, or when we have a tree. The tree lighting in Rosendale Square will never be the same. It was always the very first one that was ever done in the city. There would be no other tree lit outside in public space except for Rosendale Square in Adams Park. And Mayor Menino made that possible for us, because he loved the community so much, and he saw what could happen. So he made sure that Rosendale was in front of that kind of curve, that people would know that the tree lighting we're starting to light the trees for Christmas. And he continually called it Christmas. We tried to call it a holiday lighting, you know, but what are you talking about? It's Christmas. And it was just that kind of feeling and an appreciation that he had for us as people from Rosendale, as people from Boston, as we were his, and we were very, very aligned. He was aligned with our needs and what we wanted. That guy could have been a senator. That guy could have been governor. You know, he could have been anything he wanted, but he so dearly wanted to just stay and be the mayor of this city. It was contagious. It made you feel that kind of pride for where you were living as well. So that was one of my experiences and remembrances of Mr. Menino, Tom Menino, the mayor. But another one is more closer to home here. I've been doing this show now, you know, for quite a long time. I've been here. I've been in several locations with BNN TV, and there came a time where I was working in the community in Rosendale, and several people on the mayor's close list had suggested to him that I might be worthy or helpful, or be able to do something as a member of the board of directors here at BNN. And there's several different ways you get on the board. You get elected by the populace. You get brought in as an expert or whatever you are, and you kind of sit on the board and kind of help make sure this place runs as successfully and as great as it is. And I was floored and flabbergasted when I was appointed here as the mayor's was a mayoral appointee to the board of directors here. And I got to sit and talk with the mayor at one of the open studios just before I was to take my seat on the board. And we kind of were getting some drinks or some pastries or something, and we were talking, and he kind of looked over and he said, you know, pal, he said, that's an important board that you're going to be on. It's a citywide board. Because you're used to being on these local Rosendale boards and your local this and working in the community. He goes, but this is a citywide board, and he kind of gave me a little bit of advice and a little elbow in the ribs and got me excited about being part of this incredible place. But it's been one of the proudest moments of my life to be able to say that I'm a mayoral appointee, that the mayor felt strongly enough about whatever I can contribute that he felt that I was worthy of that distinction. And as the years went along, we'd always kind of meet at some kind of an event someplace, and he'd always ask, how is it going? What's going on? I got sick for a while. I had bronchiolitis, and I was very, very ill, and I couldn't get in to see somebody. And Greg Lahem pulled a couple of strings and called the mayor, and he got me into that Menino center that he has over at the local, I think it's Mass General now, University Hospital at the time. And every time I'd see him afterwards, it would always be, so pal, how you feeling? Is everything okay? And it turned into the kind of relationship where he'd always call me pal, and it's going to be an adjustment. Now, we all knew that he was sick, and we all knew that it was imminent. But boy, that minute you heard, it was devastating. And on this day, to be doing a show in his absence is difficult. He's been on my show several times. Sat here and talked about how the city's gonna, we're gonna do something with these community centers, Glenn. We're gonna get them all shaped up, and we're gonna turn them into these meccas of education. We're gonna have our seniors, giving them a place where they're gonna be able to go and spend quality time outside their home and be able to go back to that house that they've lived in most of their lives and raised their kids in. We're going to make sure that it's going to be a place where anybody can go in and find resources to better their lives. And God, if he hasn't done it, we got a great example of it tonight. The people from Hawthorne are here to talk about the programming and things that have gone on there. But that's just another example. I can only speak of the examples that I've kind of run into with the mayor. And there's also the times when I was on the board at Rosendale Village Main Streets, I was president of the board, and I was so fortunate to have the opportunity, every time he came to an event, that I was the one that was allowed to introduce him. And one time, he kind of grabbed me aside and said, he goes, "You're always, giving me this boost and stuff." He goes, just say Mayor Menino, da, da, da. And I got up. I don't mean to be impersonating him like that. He really didn't talk like that. I might have heard it like that, but that's not how he spoke. Obviously, very soft-spoken and gentle man. And I got up there and I went off about the greatest mayor in the history of the city of Boston, and da 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 da. And Tom Menino, and he came up onto the stage to address the group at the time, and I put my hand out to kind of shake his hand, and he tugged on my arm. And later on, I heard from him about called me Glenn that time about. Well, come on, you don't got to blow smoke. And I said, well, it's the respect we have out here for you, Mr. Mayor. That's why we do it that way. And he kind of gave me a hard time about it, but he remembered that he did. And the next time I saw him, he kind of gave me a little, I probably shouldn't have, everything was okay, So it was just, he never forgot anything. He never forgot myself, my bride, my daughter. My daughter, the first thing she does when he passed away, she changes her profile picture on Facebook of a picture of her and the mayor. It's just, that's how the kind of impact that he's had on my family. And I remember as his health was starting to fail and starting to go in a direction that was scary, he came out to Rosendale to do a political thing, and we were kind of in the courtyard outside of Sophia's Grotto. Anyone in Rosendale, anyone in Boston knows where Sophia's Grotto is. It's one of the best restaurants in the city. And he has a courtyard there, and we're all kind of milling around doing, shaking hands and how's things been and stuff. And he wanted to go into the cheese store, and it has a back door, and he just couldn't make it up those stairs. And I happened to be right nearby, and I stepped in, and he grabbed a hold of me, and I said, "Don't worry, I won't make it look like I'm helping you." And he appreciated that. And it was, it's funny because I don't know that we'll ever have somebody that's going to be as impacting on us as a community. I think most of the people I know and most of the people that I work with, he's been the only mayor they've known. Everything that I talk about at the beginning of my shows, when I talk about Main Streets, when I talk about BNN TV, he's the guiding force and the strength behind the success of all of those programs. So that's how kind of close I've been to the mayor, and I just wanted to share that with you. We've got a great show tonight. We are doing art. We are going to be artful, and you know what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. Play a couple of videos maybe, and I'm going to get our guests up here all polished up. You're going to enjoy this. You know me, there's nothing I love more than talking about art and kids, and we've got two of the experts in the building now tonight to talk a little bit about that. And listen, we're at 617-708-3290. If you want to give us a call and maybe give us a quick remembrance of the mayor, please feel free to. And also, give us a tweet if you want. We're at It's All About Arts. You can tweet us there, your remembrances, and we'll share them with Boston and the world if you'd like, and we'll do that. Also, this show will be up about this time tomorrow night on our YouTube station. All of our programs are being put up there on YouTube. Listen, gang, thanks an awful lot for allowing me to I'm not rambling, I'm telling you how I feel. Talk a little bit about a good friend, Tom Menino. Listen, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. Don't go away. We've got a great show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. We are coming to you live from Studio B, and you're more than welcome to join us. My name is Glenn Williams. You're watching BNN TV's It's All About Arts. Dave is in the other room answering the phones. You can give us a call at 617-708-3290 if you'd like to share with what's going on in your life artfully, or if you just want to, chime in with a hello and let us know. We've got all kinds of great things that have been going on. I understand. Did we have a Val's World, a Val's View kind of piped in from? Is it true that she's someplace in the atmosphere? Well, you know what we're going to do, gang, is we are going to take a break right now. We're going to go to Val's View. But first, before we do that, I want to remind everybody that this show will be up on our YouTube station. I've been loading up all of these shows from the past 17 years. Now it's 17. We just started our 17th year on this YouTube station. And I'm finding all of these old funny-looking videos of things we've done in past. So if you go there, and the way that you get there is get onto your YouTube station and type in "It's All About Arts 1." That's "It's All About Arts" and the number 1 will get you right to all of the stuff that we've been putting up. And this show will be up there tomorrow night if you'd like to get on there and share it with your friends and what have you. And also, shout out to Kirsten and Dwayne out in Portland, Oregon. Hello, guys. How are you? Evan and Joanne up in I guess it's Saratoga Springs up in New York. Is that her already? She hasn't started yet. Nope, up in Saratoga Springs, up in New York. Say hello to them. You can watch this show if you get onto your computer and go to www.bnntv.org. That'll get you, click on what's happening now. Hope to say hi to everybody out there. But without further ado, we're going to take our break right now, and we're going to go to Val's View. Hello, Valerie. How are you?
Hi everyone, hope everyone's having a great show. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there today, but just because I'm on vacation doesn't mean I can't bring to you a Val's View from the Bahamas. So I have a couple things to talk about that are coming up in the next week or so that you get to go out and enjoy. So first off, the Vintage Bazaar is a holiday jubilee. It's going on the weekend of November 7th to the 9th at the Pentagill Farm in Salisbury. So this is a 3-day long holiday inspired show where you're going to see over 80 vendors. They're going to be inside beautifully decorated greenhouses and tents that are, might I add, heated. So you're not going to be cold during this, even though it's outside. There's going to be lots of unique crafts, music, repurposed goods, lots of vintage finds. So if you're a scavenger and you like the flea markets, it's definitely something to check out. Second of all, we have SIGFest 2014, and that's going on at the Riles Jazz Club in Cambridge, and that's Saturday, November 15th from 2 to 5 p.m. Now this is a fundraising event brought to you by Massachusetts General Hospital for lung cancer research. The event is going to be filled with poetry and jazz, and lots of great people are going to be there. 100% of the contributions to SIGFest are going to be matched 100% by an anonymous donor who believes in the advancing, pioneering research of lung cancer. So a great event to sort of go out and support, especially if you like jazz and poetry. Thirdly, we have the Potluck Lecture Series with Boston Indie Mafia. So this is a really unique opportunity that's going on Thursday 13th from 7 to 9 p.m. It's at the Somerville Community Access TV station at 90 Union Square. So this is an event, it's free admission. It is a potluck, so they do suggest that you bring a dish, maybe cookies, maybe a casserole, anything that is your specialty go-to dish for potlucks. But it is going to be in the spirit of collaboration and community. Boston Indie Mafia is putting on this event to help connect filmmakers and foster support for local independence. This is a great networking event for you to go and check out, meet different people in the industry, maybe make some connections. Boston Indie Mafia is a group of regional production pros, performers, and creatives who like to help fellow artists sort of come together and network and sort of unify to help each other in the field. So I hope everyone's having a great time up north. I miss you all terribly, and I'll be back next show. So I'm going to shoot it back to Glenn for the rest of It's All About Arts. Back to you, Glenn.
Well, thank you, Val. That was almost like she was here, wasn't it? That was very good. Thank you, Val, for all the work that you do. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Do not get burnt by the sun. And with that, I want to thank David, too, for putting that together for us. It's never easy. We never make it easy on the crew here at BNN TV, but we appreciate everything that they do. But right now, it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce you to two ladies from the Hawthorne Community Center. To my immediate right is Danielle Sommer. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. And Stacy Hill Sutherland, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much, both of you, for coming and joining us today. Can you tell me just a little bit about the Hawthorne Community Center? I know that you've both been members there as well, but now you're kind of helping keep the lights on now too, right? Stacy,
Yeah,
you I
absolutely.
think you probably opened. I heard you've been there for quite some time now. How long have you been associated with Hawthorne?
Wow. I'd say at least 40 years I've been
Wow.
a member. Come and gone. Gone off, got married, and
Yeah.
started a family.
So
and
you
quickly
remember there
realized-
as a kid?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the Hawthorne. You must have some.
Well, it's Hawthorne Youth and Community Center.
Uh-huh.
We're going into our third incarnation, actually, on the verge of an expansion where we'll be adding to our space so that we can service folks a little bit better.
Okay.
But we started in a house. At that time, it was called Hawthorne House. Back in the early 1970s, had a fire and lost that building.
Yeah.
Quickly, though, the community came together and regrouped around the groups that had been meeting in the center all along.
Where was the original Hawthorne Center?
9 Folder Street, we're still in the same place.
But where is it in the city?
It's in the Highland Park neighborhood.
Highland Park neighborhood,
Some
okay.
folks know it as Fort Hill, a
Okay.
spot that you can see from Jackson Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a community center very much in name and in its function. The community came together to make sure that the center would survive after the fire.
Okay.
We operated out of maybe a 2-bedroom apartment in a small building close to the site that burned for maybe 3 years. But again, community regrouped, built a small facility that we've been operating out of now for about 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we call it our one-room wonder, because we service hundreds of people in this one small room, but have 2 really strong mainstay programs. We service youth. We have an after-school program for elementary age
Okay.
from kindergarten to 5th grade. And that's an after-school program 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, where they get homework help and enrichment, a healthy snack, and then a different activity every day of the week, and art is really one of the mainstay pieces that carries through. And I like to say through the entire history of Hawthorne, that's one of the connections that's always drawn me back, is the art that's available, the opportunities available to the youth, cause them to find ways to stretch themselves, and it carries over.
How does Hawthorne keep itself going fiscally? I mean, are there people that are members? Is there some city involvement? How does the Hawthorne keep going?
Wow, that's a good question. We absolutely are member-driven in that a lot of the actual physical work that happens in our space is done by folks who are members of the community center. There's obviously a need for funding, and it comes from various different forces. Philanthropic agencies, a little from the city.
Yeah.
We're kind of careful about where the money comes from in
Yeah.
terms of making sure that we can run the programs the way that we need them in order to service our families in ways that best service them. Yeah.
So are you independent from the Boston Center for Youth and Families?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
No,
we're
that's-
a private, nonprofit community center. We
Okay.
are open to the entire community, but we're not a city-run
Right.
operation at all.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, no, that's important to know, and I think it's important that people realize that this is actually, in the true sense of a community center, that Exactly. What is the group that you service? Is it age kids? What are the age kids that are being serviced?
Wow, that's a good question. Again, we serve the entire community.
So anybody who needs you.
So there are programs that service adults as well as children, but our core programming is geared towards servicing school age. The elementary, again, they have the after-school program.
Yep.
And then twice a week we serve teenagers, starting at about 13 up to 21 with a media arts program.
Yep. That's great. You know, I've always felt, and I'm sure that you might feel it too, that group that ends up, that 11, 12, and 13-year-old group, too old for Little League, not quite old enough for, you know, for some of the programs that the teens get. It's such an under-targeted group of kids. It's nice to hear that there's a community center that's actually, you know, going to make sure that they encompass that group of kids, that anybody in the community is welcome.
Yeah.
Are there borders?
Well, yes and no. It's wonderful that we can serve them all the way up until the 5th grade. And the art program that they get, it runs through a number of different pieces that touch. For instance, our community creations program, they get to exhibit the pieces that they develop at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. It's a partnership with the museum. They exhibit in other places around the city. But going to the museum is a wonderful opportunity for them to see themselves as an artist, which is something that can be difficult for a child.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons the art is so important throughout the entire programming at Hawthorne, because we take them when they're young and teach them that you have to do something.
Right.
You can't just sit here and not produce.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to be an artist that everybody is going to follow behind, but you do need to see yourself as someone that can produce. And there's a lot of development that happens for the child personally when they do that. We push you just enough to do something, and even if you're not happy with what you come out with, that's success too.
Yes.
And then moving on to the teenagers, they get a chance to maybe stretch that art capability a bit more, not just the physical representation of their art, but to think about it and really put some of the thought process of the ways that their mind is developing and read that into the artwork that they produce in the older programs.
Right. I can't understand how such, you know, incredible educational facilities like we have around this city, and some of the educators that we have, that they don't see the value, some of them, of what that art can do to the rest of fulfilling the child's education. I'm so fortunate to be working at a place that recognizes that, that sees beyond STEM. They see STEAM, and they see that the A belongs just wedged in there, you know, between engineering and math, right where it belongs, you know. Danielle, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. You're somebody who kind of went through the process at the Hawthorne.
Well,
now you're a teacher.
Yeah.
You're teaching.
Yeah. I joined when I was 5 years old. I first started in the summer camp.
Just 15 years ago.
I wish. But, you know, and similar to Stacy, sort of left and came back, and had a really great opportunity to work with Say It Loud. I joined about 4 years ago when we had our program was set up very differently. We were working with the Bar Foundation and the Cultural for Change program, and initially we would work in these 3-month chunks, which is a very intense process to take kids who have usually minimal art experience and get them through to an end product that you can then deliver for like mass consumption.
In 12 weeks.
Right, exactly. It was kind of a whirlwind. So that first year we made PSAs, public service announcements, related to violence, and they came out really great. We were really, really proud of the youth, and they were in that younger age. We had 11 to, I think only the oldest was maybe 15.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the Bar Foundation decided, based on I think a lot of feedback from both our organization and the other organizations throughout the city, who were participating that really we needed to be able to foster that artistic space, the space to experiment and have that kind of creation that wasn't purely production driven. And so they expanded to having a school year long project.
Yeah, as it should be.
Really, because the 12 weeks, like I said, it was a whirlwind, but we were
You can't waste any space.
Pretty much, I think we did one mini project, and then everything else was just about the PSA. And by having a year-long project, we're able to experiment with different mediums. They write different pieces. It gives them time to really think about what it is that they're trying to say, to do pieces that are more about creating art for art's sake.
Great phrase. I love that.
Well, it's really important and very valuable, and I think that is, even if it's not written in Hawthorne's mission, certainly a major underpinning of us. When you go into our one room building,
I've got to come by and visit.
You really should.
I really
it's
do.
wonderful. There's art from throughout time. There's things that were there when I was a kid,
that's cool.
still proudly displayed.
That's cool.
And then there's work that was made within the last few months.
Yeah.
And everything is given its proper respect in that way.
That's great.
And I think it gives you a sense of pride to see work that they did when they were 8. And then here they are and they're 16. And they can still say, like, I did that. And I can see an arc of the work that I did and why I made it this way and how I can incorporate some of those ideas into something maybe a little more refined and nuanced in this new way.
Set aside the feeling of the accomplishment that somebody feels enough about my piece that it's still hanging on the wall over there. That whole accomplishment of it has lasted. It's not a piece that gets hung on the refrigerator, and then when it's time to clean out the refrigerator, that gets moved away or put in a drawer or something like that. This is something that's hung, and it's lasted about a segment of time. It's important for, I think everybody's an artist. Okay, and I just think everybody has the capability of being artistic in some way, shape, or fashion. But to give worth and value to it isn't giving worth and value to the piece of art. It's giving worth and value to the individual that made it. And I think that sounds like something that's happening in your organization. What's your medium?
So I work in digital media arts. I specialize in video production, actually. But in terms of the programming that we do, I think the simplest way of explaining digital media arts is basically most work that you would use a computer to generate. In the past, we've done certainly video production. We've also made a video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's
graphic
cool.
design.
Do you have a rack of Macs that was sent to you by Timothy Smith?
I wish. No, we.
That was an earlier conversation we were having. I'm sorry, I just had to bring it up. But go ahead. I'm sorry. For the project, we used Game Maker, which is, they have a free version, and if you have any interest, you should just jump in. But are the kids actually working on iMovie or Premiere or something of that nature?
So when we do video production work, usually our initial projects are done with like Premiere Elements, which is like a step above iMovie, but a step below like Premiere Pro or Final Cut.
You can do tons of stuff with that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you could, the thing is, the interface is simplified from the traditional Premiere Pro or Final Cut.
Right.
And so it's less intimidating. And once they've sort of gone through that process, we then essentially ramp up. Right now, actually, our youth are working on a project in After Effects. We believe in giving real skills. We recognize that it takes years to master these kinds of programs. But we want to have them at least be able to open it up, identify tools, at least get that start again. And our goal is not, okay, this first project I teach you certain pieces and you work and you figure out pieces by yourself. And that second project, you only need to ask a few questions for. And that third project, you're sort of like snowballing in essence.
Then you're starting to ask questions like, can I do it this way?
Right, and like how can I incorporate, 3D motion, and how do I, we hope that kids can take things that they see, like what you see on the TV, like how do I do that?
Yeah.
Sure, okay, let's figure out how you do that.
We put a television lab in our elementary school, so the kids will, so when they go to high school, they'll have at least some of the terminology down and stuff like that. I understand we do have a short video. Okay, don't yell, David. We can hear you. Just say yes or no. We don't? Okay, no, I guess we tried to render that and we couldn't get it up to. But I guess it was one of the things where the kids were doing a poem and kind of running through some things. Are they writing the content as well as doing the production?
Absolutely. We really believe in youth-led and youth-generated work. So there have been rare occasions where I've had to do certain finishing up like pieces, and in those cases, I always put my name on it because I participated in the creation of the work that they're generating. But outside of that, like we expect them to write the work that they do and to see it through from pre to post-production. Okay. In the case of the video that you're referencing, they wrote a collective poem. So they all went and sort of wrote individualized poems, brought them back together and blended lines from each poem, and then worked out storyboarding based on that to match imagery to the words that they were speaking. Once they had shot that, they went and looked for Creative Commons open source music to pair with their pieces. So they edited it, they added music which they hadn't created but certainly looked for and gave credit to somebody. They had 3 versions, they voted on one, and that's sort of that was the final project that you see.
That's great. You know what I think we should do is if you have anything you want to show on this program, you should be sending it over. We just say, here it comes to you from Hawthorne. I think that'd be kind of fun to do.
We would love to do that.
Just if you have a project and you've got something even in the can that's been laying around, saying, hey, Glenn might like this. Send it over.
Sure,
We'd love to show it. Put it in as part of the program. But we do have some visual arts, right, David? Well, the gallery here at B&N, out in the hall, just outside the studios here, has been adorned with some of the beautiful work from some of the kids from the Hawthorne. And I'd like us to kind of go through some of those pictures and kind of you give us a little comment. There's some of it right here. This is the mask right outside of Studio A. Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing here.
This is from, I believe it's from First Night in 2010, right?
2010, yeah. Plaster mask of faces from the Rainbow Connection. First Night is another one of those programs where the after-school program, the elementary age youngsters meet with a resident artist every Wednesday, and they'll create these pieces of art. And they actually do fit it to their face and make sure they can wear that mask. The young people who did these masks, they went to the First Night parade and marched.
With them on?
With those masks on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got a few to go through. Now, one of the things that's out there are these tiles. There's some really amazing tiles.
Tile sensations, inspired by Mexican tiles at the Gardner Museum. These tiles were created to form a backsplash in the Hawthorne kitchen. That project was done in 2006.
Okay. So we'll go through a couple of those. They're very, very beautiful. The television doesn't give them justice. You got to come in and see these. They're beautiful. I actually hung this show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I got an up-close look at them. I didn't drop any. Tell them I was very careful.
And they're able to be on exhibit. Once we finish our renovation and expansion, it's our greatest hope that many of these tiles will end up literally being the backsplash in our working kitchen.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't, yeah. Grits. If we could move through just a couple of more of these, it'd be nice. Do you have any more, David? Oh, no, that brand new switcher, I guess, huh? Stacy, let me ask you this: is there a governing board
Wow.
that helps to make sure that
We have
Danielle's
actually
doing what
a
she should be
large
doing?
governing board of directors. We also have a very large advisory board, which will break into whatever size committees that they need to in order to accomplish any tasks that we can.
Yeah.
We really only have a staff of 1.5 on a regular. Most of our programs are done by contractors who come in as vendors and service the young people. And so a lot of the work that is pushed through administratively is monitored, and some of it is actually done by our board of directors.
Is music part of the fabric over there?
Music, there's another program, 1 day a week, all the way up until the holiday break. They'll get music and get them ready. The elementary school children will have put on a short performance at Marcella Park, which is the local park down the street from our youth center that we've adopted. We run a number of different programs there in the summer and in the fall. We just finished having our Halloween bash last Saturday. The second week, I want to say, in December, we'll have a tree lighting ceremony, much like you were talking about earlier. And the young people come down and they sing for that, and the parents and the community come out and hear.
In the winter, we actually have a chorus program on Saturdays that is a mixed age program. So we have people
that's cool.
With their families, older members, all participate. They make a CD every year and have a big celebration. They give it out.
CD release party. You got to do it. With limited space and resources, do you have a physical area of the city that you only service? Can I come and join?
We're open to anyone, and it's
Well, I think it's
that
important
almost
to
felt
know
like
that.
a trick question because although we serve very well within maybe an 8 to 10 block radius of our physical location, we welcome folks from all over the city.
That's perfect.
The first night operation, for instance, every Saturday between, I want to say, the Halloween break-in and the end of the year, we run workshops for the community to come in. And the community means anyone in the city that wants to participate in the first night parade, come in, make one of these wonderful projects, and then march with us during the first night
Because
parade.
when we start showing your videos and stuff, not that anybody watches this show, of course. But I say that every week, and they're getting sick of hearing it people are going to say, gee, I want to do that. I'm hoping that maybe someone will say, wow, why don't we try and start something like that in my neighborhood? I love the community center down in Rosendale Square. The municipal building has all kinds of great things going on. It's a really cool place to be, blah, blah, blah. But I think I want to have something that's going to service do this, that may be missing or needs to be improved or added on to. Has that ever happened? Has anyone ever kind of come to you guys and said, look, we want to kind of start this. You guys have the template. What should we do? What worked? What didn't?
Wow. I want to say that there are a number of projects that we have worked on, and I wish I could call them by name, but I cannot. But what I can say is that as a parent, traveling around the city, I often encounter programs that look just like the ones we've done at Hawthorne. It's like, gee, where did this come from? This is just like the way that we do it. In many ways, it's an affirmation that not only are we doing things right now, but this process we've been going through, I've watched pretty much my entire life, is right spot on. Not only that it continues to work for us at Hawthorne, but we see other folks throughout the city adopting some of those practices.
That's great.
Partnerships with other arts organizations, and we believe in sharing best practices, and certainly want to see what works for us, but
Right,
also what works for them.
you don't patent how best to serve our kids.
Right, exactly.
That's not a patent, you know. We're running out of time. I can't believe how quickly this went by. But are you doing anything else? Are you doing? Do you have a short film coming out or something that you've been working on?
I have a couple pieces that are sort of in process. One is a short silent project about communication.
Oh.
And a couple other things that I'm working on.
Well, someday we should have you back as the artist.
Just me.
Just you. Nothing personal, Steve. But just because I think I like video. I think video is such fun and such great things. I want to thank you both for coming in. Make sure the kids get here to see some of the things that we've put up on the wall.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to hang. No, it was fun and I enjoyed it, and I kind of got a little creative, and I got to hang something from here and there. And I just always have fun when I curate a little show and stuff. They've really afforded me the opportunity to come and do that here. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Stacy.
Thank you for having us.
No, and good luck. And that's an honest. I'm serious about if you find something that you want to show and you want to send in a 3-minute video, something that the kids have done that you guys are proud of, don't hesitate. I would love this to be a resource where we can get the rest of the city to know what's going on over there. Okay?
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Listen, gang, that's about it. That's been our show. Val will be back next week. We do have a show next week because Veterans Day is on Tuesday, so we'll be in, right? Yes, we do. We'll be in next week with another great show here at B&M. We got lots of things going on. You're not going to believe who's going to be here. The guy that painted the mural down in Rosendale Square on the municipal on the transportation building 35 years ago, 45 years ago, is flying up from Florida to come and spend some time with us to talk about the mural that's on the side of that building. I'm gassed. It's going to be great. I want to thank everybody for sharing any of your remembrances of the mayor, and please feel free to tweet us at It's All About Us with anything that you remember about Tom, and we'll share it with our friends here at B&N Atlanta. Listen, gang, get out there and do something artful for yourself this week, please. You'll feel great about it. And like I like to say every week on our program, please keep in the forefronts of your mind our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. Please keep them in your prayers and in your minds. And we will see you next week. Thanks a lot, gang. Bye-bye.